strong in the Lord and never give up hope. You're gonna do great things, I already know.
Welcome to Pastor Tyler's office. This is where we will meet, have some discussions, hopefully get some training, learn about youth ministry, learn about students, learn about life, learn about each other. What I want to do is hopefully each week provide videos that will start discussions. Today what I want to do is start working on a list by a guy named Dick Gibson. He put together this list of 55 things that show that you care. And what I found in my little bit of working with students is that they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Relationships are huge in youth ministry. They're huge in life in general. In a world that is becoming increasingly more individualistic and self-centered, for somebody else to come into your realm and say, I care about you, I care about what's going on in your life, I'm not going to say much, but I am going to listen. To have that sort of an influence, that sort of an understanding is huge in any person's life, especially the life of a teenager. So what I want to do is walk through this list a little bit. We'll do 5 things at a time, not a huge hurry or anything, just so that we can break it up, we can discuss. And if you have any questions, comments, disagreements, anything like that, please feel free to provide it. I'm eager and willing to hear, to discuss, to listen, because I'm here for you guys. So the first thing that Mr. Gibson mentions is that remembering the student's name is huge. Now, if you're a parent, obviously that's not as big of a deal. I would hope that you would remember their name. If you're a new youth leader coming in, or you have a new student that walks into the room, it's hard to remember that person's name, especially if you already have to remember a big group of people's names. I am awful in my memory, so I'm just now starting to get to the point where I feel comfortable with a wide variety of students and knowing their names. But that's huge. It's saying, I care enough about you to actually listen, to remember, to you get valuable space in my head. Which seems kind of goofy, but it means something to kids. The second thing is to speak to them on their level. And this doesn't necessarily mean you gotta, talk and, be all hip and cool and whatever. That's not necessarily that. It's don't talk down to them. And in the same token, don't talk over them. Don't talk to kids like they're dummies. But in the same regard, don't talk to them like they have their doctor's degrees either. You need to try and find that happy medium to where everybody can work together. And if you think that something is off, like if I were to talk about the story of Noah and the flood, I could start talking about the laws of thermodynamics, which would probably leave most with a confused look on their face. Or I could start talking about fluffy bunnies and big tall giraffes. Those are two extremes. What you want to do is just try and find somewhere in the middle where everybody can get involved. Everybody understands and can be integrated into the conversation. How do you think it affected the weather? How do you think the animals lived on the ark? Do you think this threw off any of their normal life patterns, migration, mating, anything like that? Do you think it messed it up? So by asking these questions and asking them in different ways, at different levels, you hit a wide variety of people. And that way everybody can can be a part of the conversation and nobody feels left out, which is huge. People always feel left out, and so we want to try and prevent that as much as possible. The third thing that Mr. Gibson suggests is to send birthday cards. When students have birthdays, send them a card. And it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It can be a very simple, hey, happy birthday, glad you're alive, that type of a thing. It doesn't have to be this big, giant $10 card that talks. Just a simple note that says, hey, thinking about you, glad you're a part of our group, and glad you had a birthday. The fourth thing is send notes of encouragement and appreciation. Again, this is one of those things where students feel accepted and appreciated, and that somebody noticed that they exist, and not in a negative way. If you say, hey, I appreciate that you helped clean up after youth group this past Sunday night. That's awesome. It saved me a lot of trouble. I really appreciate it. Hey, saw your grandmother wasn't doing real well. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know. We're always thinking and praying for you. Those types of things, and this goes back to the birthday card thing too, those types of things show that you are paying attention, that you care enough to follow up, and that this student matters to you, to the group, to the world, by just taking a few minutes out of your day to do that. So if you guys can take care of the birthday cards, the notes, all of that stuff, we can work together to make sure more students are covered and less slip through the cracks and leave the faith, or just go down a road that they really don't want to go down. The fifth thing, and this is a sensitive one that we have to be careful of, is touch. Now, you have to be careful. There are all sorts of accusations and things that can happen. But touch is one of those things that shows somebody on a different level that you care. I am personally very much a touchy-feely type of person. And so I need hugs and handshakes and all of that stuff. And so I have to be careful that other people don't necessarily have that sense of comfort with those things. For them, maybe their past, maybe the only touch that they've gotten recently has been a negative one, a slap, a hit, whatever. If somebody's hurting, maybe a hand on the back, a pat on the back, a hug, if you have a better relationship. Again, with hugs, you got to be careful with those. If you can hug from the side, awesome. If whatever the situation calls for, just don't give anybody the opportunity to blame you for anything. You want to be there for the student, you want to show that you care, but in the same token, you have to be careful about certain things. So those are the first 5, and hopefully they can spark some conversation, spark some discussion. If you have any questions, anything you'd like to talk about, please message me, comment, whatever, and I would love to work with you and to work on those things, because I think there's a ton that we can learn from each other. I think there's a ton that needs to be discussed in the world right now, in our ministries right now. And if you have any questions, I am here for you. So thank you very much. I'm Pastor Tyler, and go out and enjoy some of the sunshine.
Forgive and forget, but don't forget why you're here. Take your time and pray. These are the words I would say.